Good morning, everybody. Hey, District 9. How are you? How are you? We are here for our April community chat, and I have the one and only Dr. Judith White of Academics with us. Good morning, Dr. White.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Woo, at 8 o'clock in the morning, we just want to say thank you for being here, Dr. White. We appreciate it.
Always, no problem.
Good, good. So, listen, everybody, we are here to talk about two important topics, especially as we go into the summer and prepare ourselves for next school year. We want to talk about summer learning. We want to talk about academics, all questions that you've had, not only in District 9, but because I know you're going to share with at least 9 people. You might span districts. So, we want to talk about some great things there in academics. And then for the second half of today's community chat, we are going to be talking transportation. And I know I've gotten many questions from you all. We have some newness happening around Stop Finder, and I just want to bring you guys into the loop for that. So if you have any questions, then you can definitely type them in. We are live on Facebook and YouTube. And then, of course, you can send this out for those people who couldn't quite get up at 8 o'clock in the morning on this beautiful Saturday in April. All right, well, let's get into it. Dr. White, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? How long you've been with PGCPS, why academics, and all of the things.
Sure. I've had an amazing journey with PGCPS starting as a student. I've actually graduated from High Point High School. So I am born and raised Prince George's County. It is the heartbeat that drives me and all that I do. This next year, going into 25-26 school year, will be my 32nd year in the district. I started at Frederick Douglass, which I always say is a jewel in the county, as a special education teacher. And then I moved to Annapolis Road Middle School as an instructional specialist. I then became an assistant principal in elementary school. So I went from high school to elementary school to the babies at Cooper Lane Academy. And then I became the principal of Dodge Park, where I did amazing things with an amazing staff, with an amazing community. And from there, I became an instructional director. So I had the privilege of supervising principals in our district in the North and in the Bowie area. So in Langley Park and in the Bowie area. And then I became the director of curriculum and instruction. And from there, I moved to the chief academic officer, where I sit now. So I love Prince George's County. It's no greater place to be because our students, which you know, are amazing, and the wonderful things that occur for our students rarely are told. And so it's home for me.
Oh, I love that. No, thank you. So you've been in District 9, you've been in several districts, and now you're
Mhm.
working, largely in Prince George's County across all of our districts, which I think
Mhm.
is super amazing. You bring so much a wealth of knowledge to Prince George's County. So let's leverage our half an hour together today and talk academics.
Sure.
I have a scholar in PGCPS. I too graduated from PGCPS schools. And I know we recently had a work group, a work group meeting on academics. And there were a number of questions that came up, but I was hoping to pull up just some tips and tricks that parents can use to engage their children differently as we go into the summertime. So
Yeah.
I think the first thing we do, let's go to pgcps.org. I always tell
Okay.
everybody everything you can find is at pgcps.org. So let
Okay.
me present. Hold on. Let's share our screen. I'm always like, going live, going live. There we are. So this is pgcps.org, everybody. And as I always tell you, you can go to the search bar, which is right here on the right-hand side. And I literally typed in summer learning.
Just back out learning and let's just see what summer gets us. Because I
Okay.
think it's going to take us to summer 2025, and that's where we want to be.
Oh, okay. Let's say what's
That's
something.
the
Look at
very
that
first
right here.
one. Mhm.
Perfect.
So when you come to this page, it's our learning spark, and you
Let me
slide
make it a
down.
little bigger. Okay,
Sure.
hold on. Let me make it a little larger for the people. Okay. Slide
So when
down.
you slide down, I just want to talk about the page in general. What you'll see is we try to make it easy, elementary, middle, and high school, for a parent, and then our school-based summer programs, because we know schools have. If you continue to go down, we provide tips for our parents, tips to our students, and then even though we know many of our students are in community programs, and so we even
Mhm,
provide tips to our community partners on ways just
mhm.
to boost the learning and reading and numeracy in the summer, just through simple things that they can do. Same with parents. It's just How do you work with your child at home? What kind of activities can you do in the home just to keep that mind engaged and active? Not because you have to go out and buy a million things, but just in your day to day. And so that's one of the reasons. And we actually keep it there all year because we want parents, especially our parents pre-K through grade 5, to really have that information. You even go down and you see middle school and high school support as well.
You know, one of the things, if I could jump in real quick, one of the things that I love about this, being able to show all of the grades is, for instance, I have a 7th grader this year. But what I'm able to do from here is go to high school support and see as he grows, if I want him to start thinking differently now, look at what I can look at from what the high schools are. So I love this.
Right. And the other thing that will be there, I don't see it there. Actually, I do. If you scroll, so if you go back to the homepage, and I always say this to parents because sometimes parents don't know. And hey, I'm working on that website. So parents, I'm going to make sure that parent page is friendlier for you. But right here, school readiness guides. So sometimes parents say, well, what does my child need to know? So like, let's go to middle school since your son's in middle school. And let's go, you can pick 7th or 8th grade.
Okay, he's in 7th, but let's pick 8th.
Yep. And this is all about what students should know and be able to do by the end of 8th grade. So when parents are saying, I'm not really sure like what's going to happen next, here are the things that we say a child should know by the end. And so we have that for every single grade there.
And while we're talking about this, I love this too. While we're talking about this, I think it's important too. Some of what came up in that discussion was, some parents don't know how to help their children at home. So if you start with, this is what they're going to walk away with. What about those parents who want to look at their children's activities, but are unable to?
Yeah. So what I always say, especially when you're working with your child or your scholar, is what's the conversation that is continually happening? And we can allow students, and I have 2 of my own, and it doesn't matter how old they get, with one-word answers. How was school? Fine. Good. Well, tell me about it. Tell me what you did in your classes. Tell me what your activity was for today. Tell me, let's sit down and spend time looking at what are the assignments that are due, right? Because that's where you begin at an early age, really working with students on understanding their task management, when things are due, that executive functioning, right? And so many of your students, some of them are in Canvas, some are in Google platforms. Google Classroom, where assignments are due. I always tell parents, if your child is in Canvas and every child is in Synergy. Synergy is the master record, regardless of what Canvas says, because Canvas is the playground. Canvas is where we do the day-to-day interaction, but where the grades live, where they are true, where they are real, is in Synergy. And that's one thing I want to note for parents. But once a student, let's say your child is in Canvas, they've submitted an assignment, they can show you what they've submitted, have them log on. They know their log-ons, have them go to their computer, have them log on, sit down with them, let them show you their assignments. And we're going to be working with our teachers for them to understand, once something is graded, how to push that assignment back so that the student can show their parent their graded work. I would also say to parents is that in Synergy, when you look at grades, you have to understand that grades are in 3 categories. So your grades are going to be sitting in either assessment, grades are going to be sitting in either classwork, or they're going to be sitting in independent practice. And each of those categories has a weight. Normally for our district, our assessment category is 50% of the overall grade. So all the other grades that you're doing, you want to make sure to the best of your ability that students are getting in those assignments. Also, if a student completes an entire assignment and the teacher never indicated that was an assignment that they couldn't redo, and they feel that they want to earn a better grade, they can always go to their teacher and ask, can they do that assignment over for a redo, right? Because we want our students working towards mastery. We want our students to have, that initiative to say, hey, I know I can do better. And can I have another opportunity, which can override a grade.
That's good too. And I've written on here, because I think that is important, what you said, the 3 categories of grades, so that parents can know that, and that they're weighted differently. You look in, what's that, parent view, as you look in your parent view, you can actually see the type of assignment it is as well.
Yeah. And assessments aren't always sit and get tests. We try to work with our teachers to say sometimes assessments is a project. Sometimes assessments is getting up in class and doing a speech. Sometimes assessment is a writing. It depends on what the teacher gives, but it does not always have to be a sit down 50 question assessment that gives an assessment grade.
And so if you all are not, if you're not signed up for Synergy, then go back to our website. So 1 second, let me present.
And while you're looking for that, the other thing I would say to parents is, do you establish a time where you and your scholars sit down every week to review what's happened and what's coming up, right? Normalizing that's a process that you do becomes healthy for students, also helping them to be organized. So what is your child's structure? And every child might be different. If you have 3 children in your home, don't force feed the same structure to all 3, because all 3, we know from, we have same parents and kids are all different. So, but maybe one child is better with a notebook. Maybe another child is better with a spiral binder. You have to really hone in, pay attention to what they like to write in, how they like to take. Some children like Post-it notes. What is that organization tip for them? Some students like using a Google Calendar. But if you get them in the habit of really talking to them, what are your assignments? When are they due? Mapping them out and having that time where I'm going to dedicate to you to sit down and we're going to look at it for some of you, it's every evening for 10 minutes, 5 minutes. It will begin for them a pattern of organizing themselves. And one thing I would say about COVID, when we went into COVID, that was the best example of executive functioning that we could have done for a child. To have to get up, to be on a Zoom link, to jump on the computer at a certain time, right? That was executive functioning at its best. But we as parents can really start beginning to train our students that way, just through the simple task of meeting, talking, organizing their work.
No, that's very good. And I've written down a couple of tips that you've outlined as well. So let's present, and I just wanted to show folks again, our PGCPS site. Remember, all things are at PGCPS. Use this search bar, and I just typed in parent view. And when you go, I typed in Synergy actually. So when you go to Synergy, there's a lot of different links that you can click on. And I just put accessing parent view for those of you who, hopefully everybody in District 9 already has this, because we've talked about it before, but you never know. So right here, it tells you how to log in so that you can be enrolled and see all of this information. You can go to activate. It shows you exactly how to ensure that you have it. I won't bring mine up because it'll be for my specific scholar, but there's videos, there's just ensuring that you can go through. If you have any problems, there's also a link that you could click. And if not, you can always reach out directly to me. Okay. So just wanted to show folks that. And
the other thing I would say, at the end of the day, and I say this as a parent, right? Because my children graduated from Prince George's County Public Schools, is I want my teachers to know that I am a support to them. And so where you have opportunities to show up for your child's teacher, especially in the younger grades, that matters. Listen, I was buying, you need some tissue for the class? I was buying, because I needed to know that when I needed to communicate with you about the things that my child needed help on, I wanted a really positive relationship with that teacher. Where there were times where they had a field trip and, do you need a volunteer? Or do you need me to you have testing going on in your class? Okay, can I come and work with 5 students, even if it's one day a month, to give you that flexibility to move around your classroom? You start building those relationships, it matters. Because number one, you get to see how the school operates. You get to see how your teachers are engaging with your child, but you're also giving service back, and your student sees you showing up in a space for them. And so then when you have to stay connected to that teacher and really understand, how can I work? How can I do better? Like, what activities, you feel real connected. As we move into the summer, I'm really excited. Many of our schools will have summer programs of their own. For our high school parents, if your child needs to have credit recovery, meaning they've been in a class, it didn't work out for them, they're not passing, that matters in high school because they're credit bearing for graduation. We offer credit recovery in the summer, and the schools handle that registration. But for our high school scholars, we also offer some original credit also. So it's a class that you haven't taken yet. You need it for graduation, and there's a possibility that you can take it in the summer and have it completed. For our elementary students that are not participating in programs at their school, we will have a platform. It is all digital, and you can go on every week. It'll drop, and it's reading, math, science, social studies, and our wraparound support. So physical ed activities, art, music, and it takes you through. And as a parent, you can sit with your child. It walks them through. It tells them what button to push. You'll hear it automated. It's in languages, Spanish and French. And each week you'll get a whole new week of activities. For our middle school students who are not involved in either our recovery programs and or a program at their school, we'll also have a calendar there that will say, hey, mom and dad, like your child should read this amount of time every single day, or here's a writing assignment that your child can work on for this week, or here's a numeracy activity that your child can do. Because summer is about being engaged. Summer is about having fun. First off, I know the kids are like, stop with all that work and tell my parents to have some fun. Summer is about relaxing, and it's about renewing. But summer should also be about how do you keep your mind activated and engaged in real simple ways, like writing. We're as a system, or we're struggling with writing. And not because our kids can't write, they choose not to, right? But writing about simple things. So if you know that there's a show that they want to watch, if you know your child, your son loves or your daughter loves sports, then let them watch that little show on TV and then say, who was the main character? Okay, what happened? What could have elevated and taken that program further, or what character demolished the whole thing, and explain why? Even if you get them to talk them that way and talk to you out loud, write down one sentence here, one sentence there. If they like reading comic books, let them read it. If it's magazines, let them read it. You just want them engaged, and you want to take their thought to paper. You could have a journal, and every single day in your journal, take a question and put it there. Tape it down or write it in their journal and make them write you 2 to 3 sentences. Every summer I did that for my students, or my own children, where they had to write at least one paragraph every single day, every summer. It gets their mind going. It could be things made up, like what are you going to do in 5 years? It could be if you could build your own program, what would it be? If you were an animal, which one is most fascinating for you and why? What's your favorite snack? If you could build a snack, if you could combine 2 snacks, what would it be? Just anything in the world. Because if you keep a child in the space of creativity, then their mind is always curious, and they always want to know more.
Oh, that's so good. Because from that, you can also, just talking about the recipe, read the recipe and then make it. It just turns it all into learning. I love that. We do have a question. Is there a site for high school families to visit for the summer courses? Also, is it school specific?
So on that site that you were on that said summer, I would encourage each of you to explore. And when you click on one of them, it says summer programs, you will see where all the sites are. A lot of our high school programs are like those summer bridge programs. So like if your child is at Academy of Health Science or one of the science and tech, but your schools in high school have the credit recovery list of courses that will be offered. All counselors in the high schools are working and will be working to schedule. So if you go down there and you look for high school, let's go into
this one here, or the one at the bottom.
And then, okay, so here, so 2025 high school summer learning program, that first one.
Let me just go down a little bit. So the way I got here was that I just went to PGCPS, and in the search key, I pressed summer, and then we clicked on the summer Spark for 2025. Okay.
And so here is, go down for a second. Let me just see. So these are the summer sessions.
And this is the registration dates, just so you can see these.
And it says students must complete and submit registration form with the assistance of the professional school counselor. So for those high school parents that are on there for original credit and for you to see what they are, have your child or you call the professional school counselor, because they organize, schedule, and help with registration for all of the high schools. Some of those things are online, and some of our high school sessions are in person at certain high school sites.
Okay, I'm just typing in your school counselors for additional information for summer recovery program.
Or original credit.
Or original credit. Okay, let me just put that there. And yes, so I'll just continue to show this, but it's very detailed. It talks about the summer 1 session, summer.
And it gives you the sites right there. Okay. So Central, Eleanor Roosevelt, Fairmont Heights, Friendly High School, Largo, Laurel, Northwestern, and Oxon Hill. And there is no cost to parents.
So if there is, because none of these are District 9 schools, so the District 8 school is the closest to us, which is
Mhm,
Oxon Hill High School.
mhm.
And so no matter what district you're in, you can
Doesn't
apply
matter.
to go to
They'll
either.
tell you. So when you go to register, they
Uh-huh.
will tell you what site. So they probably have them by boundary. So
Yeah.
certain high school students go to certain sites. So when you work with your professional school counselor, and I believe it's a phone number on there, you can call. They will be able to give you guidance
Uh-huh.
on,
Oxon Hill and Friendly. Yeah.
yeah, what to do. And
Okay.
then some parts, it looks like some, go back up, stop, go back down for a second.
Okay.
It says summer, stop right there. Summer session 1 and summer session 4 are online.
Online.
So see,
Hmm.
they have a variety.
Okay, got it.
Mm-hmm.
This is good. Okay, cool, cool, cool. And
But
it
I would
also,
spend time as a parent looking at this entire site,
mhm.
going in, looking at the different links, because it will give you a lot of information.
Oh, good. I'll put this in my next newsletter as well, for folks as well,
Yeah.
so that they could see it. Perfect. Thank you. And then let me just see. She said, I hope one day there will be a District 9 school on that list.
I'm going to take that
Absolutely.
message back, because if no one else is advocating for District 9, Board Member Walker is in our ears. So I will take that message back. Miss
Absolutely.
Perkins, I hear you,
Absolutely.
Miss Perkins. I'm writing a note right now.
Thank you. Yes, we absolutely, and hands down. You see, the first thing I noticed,
Yeah.
but I
And
do
excuse me,
love
let
the
me say
idea.
this. Oftentimes, our schools are dependent upon what their system identifies as facilities that
Yeah.
are available. Oftentimes, we are working on
I was gonna
facilities
say.
in the summer, and those facilities are not available for use. But I will
Mhm.
definitely take this back.
Oh, perfect. Okay. It would be good to see one in every district, to be honest.
Okay.
But I do know, I know I'm trying to do a program in the summertime, and it was tough trying to at least get a building that was
Yeah.
available in the summertime just for that single program. So
Yeah. And it could have been
totally
in last
understand.
year wasn't District 9. And it could be that the facilities in District 9 have something going on. But I
Yep, absolutely. And we
my
have
post-it, you
4 high
can't
schools
see
here.
it, but this is my post-it. I wrote it down.
Thank you. We know, we appreciate it. We really do appreciate it. Well, listen, as we close out this first half, because I want to be true to time and make sure we talk transportation as well,
Yeah.
want to thank you, but also want to remind folks that there are so many resources that's available. And
Yeah.
oftentimes I do hear from parents that it could be a little overwhelming with all the information, with all the emails, and they just
Mhm.
don't know where to start. And where I say start, so I'm going to come to you next to leave some tips and tricks. But where I always say start is pgcps.org and type in what you're looking for. You saw
Correct.
today that we typed in summer, then we typed in summer learning, and all of the information will absolutely pull up. So, what would you like to leave those folks with, the parents and the scholars that might be looking on either now or later?
So one of the things I just want to touch on, tutoring. So if you typed in
Mhm.
tutoring, we have math tutoring. We never run out of space usually in math tutoring. Now, after I've said this today, with the way District 9 operates, they could actually eat up every space, which is not a problem. We welcome you. But we also have Pear Deck tutoring. And why I really want to talk about Pear Deck, even in the summer, it is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If a child is stuck with any problem, if you are stuck trying to help your child, if you go there, as soon as you open it up, Pear Deck, bam,
Mhm.
right? Students know how to log in, but if you go there, it'll talk about
Mhm.
how to register for these. And here, you said right there is parent information sessions
Yep.
that is passed. So I'll make sure that we get some new ones on, because we wanted to try to make sure our parents were able to sign up and understand. But you can go in, it's different languages. If your child is in an immersion program, hey, no problem, because you can go in. You can work live with a tutor, meaning you can see the tutor on the camera. You give the tutor your assignment. They're prompting you through to help you. They're not giving them the answers. They help with writing. You can put writing in, and it gives them feedback on their writing. It is so valuable that it is there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week
Mhm.
to get assistance. And I think I can't say that enough, because as parents, sometimes we're looking at their work like, oh my God, did I learn this? Like, I know I'm able to do things now, but what did I learn that? Like, but that's
Yeah.
when I need to go to Pear Deck and get some help.
Yep.
I will work with my staff to see if we can get another before summer,
That
some
would be
more
great.
parent sessions on there.
Yeah.
But you see, we have a writing lab in there. It's very valuable. And then what I would just
Mhm.
say is, you know, we have to have efficacy and belief for our children. And that means that even us as parents, we have to see them as though they were. And so right now, many of you are frustrated. You're frustrated just even by behaviors that they have in school. Know that they change every year. Every experience is changing your child. The biggest champion they have is us as parents. So love on them, encourage them, speak life into the things that
Yes.
you see in them. Don't allow what you see in this moment to define what we know they will be. And that's going to matter when you least expect it. They're going to show up in a space and blow you away. Know also that all that you're pouring in as they get older, they will show up. What they don't give us, they will begin to give to other people. And it matters, because I was like, is my son gonna be able to go to college? Like, it's like, is he going? Because 3 different times I was like, somebody not gonna make it, him or me. Like a 7th grade, I was like, who are you? Like at
Yes.
7th grade, I said, you gonna get hurt. So whoever got my son, I need you to bring him back. But he just graduated from North Carolina A&T. He's an amazing kid. He is phenomenal. So you have to speak life into every situation, because they're changing and growing. And
Yeah.
we encourage them to have a voice and to speak up until they're speaking up to us, right?
Yes.
Learn to navigate them and constantly mold them. As parents, we are heroes. We're doing
Yes.
something that's on the job training every single day. It's not one way to do it. And so support your teachers. Even when you feel like that road is rocky, show up in a supportive and partnership space. Build relationships with the administrators in your school. Show up to volunteer. Sit down with your scholar and make them talk to you about anything, whatever's on their heart.
Yes.
Then get them writing, get them engaged, get them thinking, get them curious, and have them write.
That's great. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited. I always take away, every time I talk to you, I always take away different things I can do at home to improve my own parenting. And I think that that's so important. So really quickly, if you could tell us the differences between Pear Deck, which you just talked to us about, like the Cliff Notes, Amplify, which people heard that word in the session,
Yeah.
and oh my gosh, I just lost Tutor Me.
Yep. So Tutor Me and Pear Deck are the same thing. So Tutor Me, Pear Deck took over Tutor Me. And so only parents need to worry about Pear Deck. They don't need to worry about Tutor Me. Amplify only applies if you are a parent of a student in grade K to potentially grade 3. And what Amplify is, or in elementary school, I should say, not K to 3, but in elementary school, so K to 5. In some of our schools, there is a tutoring program during the day, online, where tutors come in and your child would jump onto a computer, but it's only in about 48 of our schools. So it's a tutoring session. It's either 1-to-1 or 1-to-4 students based on data. However, for every elementary school parent, we do universal screening, which means we're testing students to make sure that they're growing in their ability to give back with their learning. And then we put students on, you've probably heard of Lexia Core 5 or iReady, to give them individualized intervention support in between administrations of that universal screener, which is Dibbles for us.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much. Listen, we could talk forever and 50 days about this. It's so intriguing to me, and I love to give parents different resources that they can engage their scholars a little differently, because it's not always an easy journey. So thank you so much for being here. Feel free to stay, but we're going to transportation.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. I want to welcome Director Kiva Baldwin. So, hey, Dr. Baldwin, how are you? Let me move this right here.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Thank you for being here, or allow me to be here. Talk about transportation first thing Saturday morning.
Listen, I told Dr. White, I said, first of all, District 9 wants to thank you for getting up at 8:00 a.m. to be here bright and early. So I want to thank you for being here at 8:30 a.m. We don't take it for granted, especially talking tough topics like academics and transportation. So we have you for this last power half hour. And I wanted to take the opportunity to talk to folks about transportation. We have had numerous ups and downs and all arounds, but I can tell you in District 9, the amount of, I'll say, complaints or concerns have reduced, at least the ones that I'm getting, but there still are some. specifically in the Brandywine and Baden area. But before we go to that, why don't you just tell us about yourself, how long you've been in transportation, how long you've been with PGCPS, and then I want to get into kind of some modifications that's been made, how you all have made enhancements this year, and some newness that might be coming.
Awesome. Well, I joined PGCPS in July of 2023. Prior to that, I've been in Stafford, Virginia as a director. Prior to that, I've worked in Suffolk, Virginia as a director. I started my career in North Carolina. Actually, believe it or not, I've been a science teacher, school administrator, safe schools coordinator, student services director, and landed in transportation. And I have loved every minute of it. I loved every minute of being a middle school science teacher, which, there's no in between. You either love it or hate it when you teach in middle school. And I loved it every minute. But transportation has really taken my heart. And so being in the industry for now about 15 years, from that standpoint of working, it has brought a lot of knowledge to me and a lot of common sense thinking, and trying to bridge that gap with serving 85,000 students here in the district with dealing with a bus driver shortage that is like no other in the country. It's a challenge, but this is a challenge that we work every single day to manage and to make progress. I think when we started this campaign with the recommendations from the transportation audit, Dr. Coleman and I, he really coined a good phrase, is that we're looking for progress over perfection. We didn't get this way overnight, and we're not going to be able to fix it overnight. And so it's important that what we do is, one, to be very transparent in the work, and number two is to show the progress of what we're doing. So I'm happy to be here and discuss. We're not turning away from any time to talk about transportation, because when we do have this opportunity to speak, people don't really know what transpires within a day in transportation. And so I thank you, Board Member Walker, for inviting us here, and I'm happy to start this conversation.
Oh, good. Oh, good. Well, I will say this. Anytime I call for transportation, no matter what it is going on, to you and Dr. Coleman, you always show up. We had a specific transportation update per se. I think it was actually called that for the Brandywine area and Baden specifically. And so I appreciate the fact that whenever there is deep conversations that need to be had, specifically in District 9, you all show up and show out. So I know, let's talk about what you all have done. I know there was a transportation study which gave us some guidance, and you made
Correct.
some route changes and modifications, which some you're still tweaking to date. I did want to show, maybe you can talk about that a little bit, and then I want to go on pgcps.org and show how people can get into the transportation resolution.
Awesome. Well, the superintendent requested an audit. And so we've been working with a third-party consulting firm by the name of Formative, and they did an audit and recommended about 12 recommendations. We had certain findings and recommendations. We primarily chose 5 of those recommendations that we could implement right now. And those 5 included the bell time changes. We included a stop consolidation. There was a walk zone audit. There was an opportunity to opt out of transportation, and improving our customer service, which meant working with that parent app. And so those were the 5 that we felt that we could implement and have an impact immediately. They are modest changes in what we're trying to work with, and this is what we've been reporting out for the entire year. So we're on tap to do quarterly reports to the board. We were scheduled to do one earlier this week, but we were asked to kind of pivot and push it to next month. But we're excited because each of those presentations, we're able to show progress and talk about next steps. It's not perfection, but it's still positive progress. And I know in our Brandywine area, we are experiencing tremendous growth. I know the increase of traffic and the fact that we still have a shortage of drivers we're doing our very best to manage it. It has taken a special eye to really look at the total situation, and we're planning for next year because we definitely want it to be better than what we started out this year. So
Let me do this presenting really quickly so that folks
mhm,
know how to get to all things transportation. So this is on pgcps.org, and I just typed in transportation. And as I typed in transportation, this is what comes up. And the first one is the transportation, but right under here is transportation audit, which you just talked about, where folks can
mhm,
go in and take a look
mhm.
at the presentation from Formatic. I think that's what they're
Yes.
called,
Yep.
and who did the audit. So you can take a look at that, as well as frequently asked questions, where I send a
Mhm,
number of parents to. But I just want to
mhm.
click on transportation. And if
Yes.
you just want to walk through the site really quickly, and then we'll talk about
Absolutely.
Stop Finder.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So when you access our site, we try to have all of our information there. And so we have a portal specifically focused on the audit and the recommendation. So if you click that first tab with transportation community information sessions, those are sessions that we did prior to the start of the 24-25 school year. I believe we did 9. We visited each district, and we talked about what we were planning to do for the 24-25 school year. Um, and that would have the just information from there. The main page, um, Chair Board Member Walker, is the transportation improvements 24-25. That's where you will find all of our information. You should be able to find a link to the entire 150-page audit. Uh, talks about all of the all of the solutions that we are working on, and each one. And it may have some video footage for each of those sections that you
Mhm,
can click on.
mhm,
But it tells you in general what our purpose and what we're doing.
mhm. I think one of the things too is this year was the new introduction of, if you don't need a bus to tell us, you could opt out. And did
Correct.
we, what did we see with the opt out?
So that is a great point. We offered the opportunity for parents to opt out because by default, we assign every student a bus stop. But we don't know realistically if every student is utilizing the
Mhm,
bus. So to help us this year, we ask parents, if you're not going to use transportation, let us know.
mhm.
And right now we have roughly about 7,000 plus families that have opted out of transportation. And that's helpful. Oh, excuse me.
The dog is ready. This
Yeah,
um
yeah, they
this one.
love to bark at passers, at folks going by. So but we have over 7,000 families that have opted out. That is a very small percentage of the 85,000 students that we transport, but it's helpful. And what's important to know, that if parents need that transportation back, all they need to do is contact their school registrar and request their stop. But by default, we probably have not taken the stop away because many of our stops have multiple students assigned to them. And so if parents are not utilizing the bus stop, that's, they may not have told us, but it's always there because
Okay.
chances are there are other students assigned to that bus stop as well.
So, if you were to think about maybe the top three things that transportation is working on at this particular time because of gaps, what would they be?
Well, number one is securing more drivers. That is first and foremost. We need bus drivers from there. The second thing is communication. Well, I've been really tough with my team about improving the communications. And it's important to know that we only have about 2 ways that we can communicate to our families. And one is the Stop Finder app through the push notifications that we can send. And number 2 is School Messenger, and that's important. And what we found out through the course of learning is that our parents have to actually opt into School Messenger. And there is a portal on the district website that will take parents through the steps of activating their parent view account. Now, I will tell you this link. We have 85,000 students with a bus assignment, but only about 60,000 families I can only touch. And that is because you have to have a registered parent view account. That portal, when you register in Synergy, that's the Synergy Parent View account, that has verifiable contact information. And I have to explain this a lot, is that the enrollment process and the information that you give in the enrollment does not carry over to the parent portal. And that's how we get your contact information. So first thing is, we encourage our families to make sure you activate your parent view account, because now I get your contact information. Once I get your contact information, I can then send you a link to the Stop Finder app. And see, the reason is security. It's a closed system, but once you have access, your student information automatically populates in that app. And that's how we can send you push notifications. You can get the notifications from the bus. Okay. The other way, is School Messenger. And again, that's our robocall system, and where we can call you, we can text you, and we can email you concerns about the bus and your particular trip.
Okay. So the top three you said was driver shortage. You said communication related to parent view.
Parent view, Stop Finder, just bus updates. And the third is working our transportation plan, meaning utilizing or working within those 5 prioritized recommendations that we've been discussing and moving. Yes. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, let's go through each of those. I love that. Thank you. I love 3. Like, give me a top 3 and then we can work through those nice and concise.
Absolutely.
So let's go through and I didn't talk to Dr. Baldwin about these before, but because he's an expert, I know he can flow with the questions. So appreciate that, Director Baldwin. So the first, let's go through driver shortage and talk about what we're doing at this point in order to help us to mend this need.
Great. So we work with our HR partners because they actually do the hiring for me. And so we are working with them every day. We have job fairs twice a month. Matter of fact, we had one Wednesday at our headquarter location, which is Skyline Administration Building in Suitland. And matter of fact, this morning, after I get off the call with you, I'm heading to Dr. Henry Wise Junior High School because we're having a district-wide job fair there from 9 to 12. So with HR, they're pushing the avenues for job fairs. Again, twice a week. We're ramping up more now in preparation for next school year. We're also looking at different types of incentives. Neighbors, our biggest competitor is Metro WMATA, and it's hard to beat some of their rates. They're hiring folks with some of the same credentials for $26 an hour, and they're giving a signing on bonus roughly around $2,000 to $3,000. And so that's hard to compete. And so our HR team is working very hard to try to recruit our folks. And once we recruit them, it's our job to retain them. And so we want to make sure that they can get the hours. We want to make sure the work environment is conducive to that. We talk about that building, the relationship building for our drivers to our students. We're the first face that a lot of these kids see every day from a school official, and we're the last face that they see every afternoon. And we want that to be a very mutual, pleasant relationship and nurturing for our students in that standpoint. So quickly, we're working with retention. We're working with recruiting for sign-on bonuses. We're working with trying to build our pool with potential working, allowing current staff members to become bus drivers and bus attendants, really trying to be innovative to grow our own within the district for working in transportation.
Okay. I hear you. And
Yeah.
thank you. We have had some that are here. I think another piece is engaging our scholars' parents in order to help us to drive that communication outwards.
Yes.
Unfortunately, there's many that are losing their jobs right now from the
Mhm.
federal workplace. We do have
Mhm.
a number of openings, including bus drivers, but we have a number of openings for teachers, for substitutes, for
Yep.
bus drivers, for attendants, even in our administrative places. So our parents helping us to get that word out is really helpful. Okay,
Yeah.
let's go to number two, which I'm gonna bring
Mhm.
back because I've been writing all of the things on here. But when we look at communication related to parent view, how are we trying to bridge that gap?
So this is our constant communications. My team constantly meets with schools, their PTA, PTO. We have a great relationship with our parent engagement specialists, where we are encouraging our parents to do those 3 steps. Um, that one to activate your parent view account, activate your stop finder account, and then within your stop finder account, create those geo alerts so that you can get those notifications when the bus is close to your stop. And so that has been a really annual, everyday push to talk with parents and get them to see that. When we, of course, when it comes to our TRSs and complaints and concerns, our parents, they say, well, the app doesn't work. And so that means we go into a troubleshooting mode and we ask questions. And a lot of the times we find out that they've done 1 or 2 of the steps, but not all 3 steps. And so we work with them to complete all 3. And I have to admit, Board Member Walker, this is a tedious process. And I sympathize with our parents. And that's one of the reasons why, we can talk more about it with the working our plan, but we are researching for a new parent app right now. But that's as a result of what we've gone through this year and really pushing it and seeing our families struggle a little bit about just getting into parent view and then getting into stop finder. And so we hear we I tell folks, like, we hear you, right? And so that's why now we're searching for another app that really meets the needs of our families. And it's our goal to be transparent with that and tell folks what we're doing and where we are within that step. And so but we just need everyone to understand, in order for us to send you information, we need to have your contact. And so that's why it's important for one to have that parent view account, because that starts everything for us.
Okay, thank you. There's a couple of, I didn't realize we had a couple of questions. So the first one
Sure.
is, can you speak to how you're securing more drivers? Oh, excellent. Look at that. Great minds think alike. He just did that. And the short-term solution as we prepare for next year. I think you just talked that as well. And
Yeah.
then here's another question that we haven't talked yet. If possible, could you provide an email address for PTSOs that aren't looped into your engagement so that we can be looped in? One of the things I can do is provide you with the District
Mhm.
9 PTSO leaders' email
Mhm.
addresses
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
that you can add that to your distribution
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
you engage parent engagement.
Yeah.
Because we do know that parent engagement officers are not at every school.
Gotcha. Mhm.
All
Yeah.
right,
We're
thank you for that.
open. Yeah.
I'll
We
take
just need an
that one.
invitation.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Do you have a blast that when you say that you engage your parent engagement officers, is that through email?
So no, they have regular scheduled meetings, and I attend their meetings and I give them transportation updates so they can go back and push it to their members of their school
Oh,
population.
yeah. So
Hmm.
we should, because you're not going to be able to go to all of the schools, I would imagine. Now we can, but I can send you the email addresses for the District 9 parent
Hmm.
organizations. And I'm
No,
sure that we can provide you with all of the PTA and PTO organization email
absolutely.
addresses
Now,
to be able to
now
do that.
I will tell you, we've been going to schools and we don't mind coming to schools. We have done
Excellent. Well,
several
I'll send
schools.
ours.
Yes, ma'am. And if
I
there's
will.
an opportunity, a date within the regular scheduled meeting of your
Yeah.
PTA, PTO, and you want to give us a couple minutes, we just need that invite and we'll make sure we have someone there. That's been part of our communication of just trying to be out in the field and talk more about transportation.
Oh, okay. So this one can be easy because we have our Frederick Douglass High School PTSO leader on actually. So
Mhm.
should she send you an email directly?
Yes, you can
And
send
what
it
email?
directly to me,
Okay.
and
So
that's Kiba.Baldwin.
uh-huh. At
Mhm,
PG.
yes, ma'am. The generic email, I have a generic email account that I have some members of my team that monitor. That's the email that's on the webpage. That's transpar@pgcps.org. That email collects a lot of information, and I have folks looking at that and they cipher. But just email me directly, and I will
Okay,
get
I
this to
added
the
that one in to
supervisor.
be able to. I think that's great. And so
Mhm,
I know that Ms. Perkins is looking on right now. Several other PTA and PTO organizations will see this in the
mhm,
future, and that's a great ask. So at your PTA meeting, then you can just invite Director Baldwin to give those updates. That's a great idea.
mhm.
Thank you,
Yes, ma'am.
Director Baldwin, for that.
Mhm.
And then I'll also send that over. But I think those who do have meetings, it would be great to have you on an agenda for a couple minutes just to give those updates. Um,
Absolutely.
I know that in the District 9 Digest, which is our monthly newsletter, as
Mhm.
information comes up for updates, we're sure to put that in. And I think that as Stop Finder, because I know you just talked about, hey, we've heard you, Stop Finder isn't always working. It's linked to Parent View. We have a roughly 20,000 gap in the people we can actually get to based on
Mhm.
what you were saying earlier. So as where are we in the process of locking another parent app?
So we have just recently finished a survey. We sent a parent survey out to all of our families who are assigned transportation and asked them basic questions about the usage of the current app. Um,
Hmm.
what would you like to see in the next app? And I love that part. And so we had over 3,500 respondents to that survey, which is great. And so what we want to do next is take that information and use that as criteria for our
Hmm.
vendors to see and ask, can you fulfill this void? Along with some other things internally that we're looking at, but we're going to bring that back. And my hope right now is to share just general overview, a high level overview with the board and also with the parent and community and advisory council, so that we're transparent about what we're seeing, and they may have some other other concerns to add to the pot. And so in our research with several different parent apps bringing in, we want to use that as criteria. And once we have settled on that app, we will come back to the group and share, here's what we are recommending based on the needs that you have shared with us, and to be able to kind of look at what they have to offer, and
Hmm.
definitely look at the implementation of how we can implement this for next school year.
Oh, I love that. I'm typing at the same time
Mhm.
because you mentioned PCAC, and I
Yes.
love that you mentioned that because that's our Parent and Community Advisory Committee. And I put the email address here. Oh, I didn't show the people. I put the email address here for those constituents that's looking on because this is the advisory committee that advises the board and the superintendent. And so they have a great tap into the community. So if there's issues or concerns that are had, they compile all that and they pull that into recommendations or advisement for the superintendent and for the board. And this could be really one of them. They've done some great work in the past. We
Mhm.
actually have it open right now. I know District 9, we are looking for one for the next school year. And I'll tell you that we've had over 10 applicants. This is the most applicants that we've had for, I think it's like over 100 and something. I think 116 was the last number I had for the applications in the districts that are open. And that is
Mhm.
just phenomenal that so many want to get
That is
involved. Yeah, so we'll be
absolutely.
looking at those applications soon. and making a determination on how we gain support. So thank you, District 9, for all of you all who submitted and want to be part of this. We can only have one, but I love that there's so many coming in, because that means that there's folks that's ready to advocate. And I can go on a soapbox about that all day. So just wanted to put that there. Hold on, we have another comment. I haven't read it yet, but it says, realistically speaking, would StopFinder have any improvements made over the summer until a new system is created or aligned?
Yes. So some of the things that they've updated is internal for us. External for families, we have offered an opportunity for batch creation of the geo alerts, meaning that instead of the parent actually going in and create the geo alert, my team can create a default geo alert for you, right? To kind of minimize that all of the pieces that you have to do to activate the StopFinder app. And so that's one of the things we've talked with them about some more upgrades that happen internally, and they listen. It just takes them a little time to build it and put out. So we're looking for more updates. If we have to start the year in StopFinder, we want to, what's helpful for us is getting more families involved. And I will tell you this number, Board Member Walker, of the 60,000 families that we're able to touch just off their parent view account, only 28,000 have actually downloaded the StopFinder app. And when I say download it, they can open the app and they see the map. There's no student information or anything of that nature, right? They can see, I'm sorry, you can't see student information, but there's nothing related to the bus. They can see the bus and where it goes, but it's not identified by the stop. So that's 28,000 families. Only 8,000 of those families have created the actual geo alert where they're actually getting the push notification if the bus is coming to their stop or at school. And so we want to increase that number as much as possible. I tell you, the vendor works with us a lot, and we want to blow their system up. And so this is what our campaign, when we meet with the PTOs in the schools, we talk about that, increasing the usage and then understanding the components of the app. My team is ready and available to discuss with you any issues that we have. They've been versed in the troubleshooting component of it, and so we walk through that. And so we just need more active users.
I have it downloaded. I use it all the time. I think that I'm going to just put this up for folks to see. What I did to get here is I went to pgcps.org and I typed in StopFinder. And I'm now looking at the FAQs, and there's a video here to help you with what Director Baldwin has just been talking about, these geo alerts. I have a geo alert that is my son's name. You can name it. It's just my son's name, and it says pick up and it says drop off for school. And so whenever the bus hits that location, even before it gets here, so it'll say, hey, it's at, I called it pick up at school, but it's at the pick up at school location. I know that it's on its way because it does a route before it picks him up. So I know that it's on its way. I can let him know, hey, get yourself outside. So all of those things are so important. And that's what Director Baldwin is saying, is that once you're in the system and have this, you too will get notifications from StopFinder as well. The other day, I got a notification that said that there was an issue with StopFinder, and that was able to be pushed out to everyone.
Yeah.
And what are you all seeing for, I know you're going to create these batch, GeoFinder, geo alerts, which is great, but what else are you hearing of concerns that we can just readily do while you look for another vendor?
Well, right now, I can tell you within the app, some of the times don't reflect the actual time the bus arrives, right? And I tell folks that this is a result of unfortunately, our driver shortage. So we have to ask the drivers are doing more routes, more trips than what is planned in the system to cover the vacant runs. And so we are not actually able to update all of the actual times reflective, because it may be in the window of another trip that they're taking, if that makes sense. And so I get that question a lot from parents that says, well, the stop time on the app says 7:20, but my bus may come at 7 o'clock, or it may come at 7:15. Can you update that? And sometimes we can, and sometimes we can't, because we're looking at each individual trip of that driver. And you said it best, most drivers are doing multiple trips. And so they may have a trip before they actually start your trip, but it's still within the same window of, say, a school bell time, that 7:30, 8:30, 9:30 time frame. And so it will throw times off. So that's why it's just important. And then what I have to tell them is say, this is why I need you to create your geo alert, because no matter what time, once that bus crosses that geo alert, that bus is close to you.
Yeah. So one of the things, no, thank you, Director Baldwin. One of the things is I just look at these questions and answers. We might just want to go back and take a look at some of these answers, because they're a little generic, like this one here. Why don't I see the bus? And it says the bus will only appear for districts using the Stop Finder Geo Alert feature. Contact your district's transportation department regarding Geo Alert. Well, what we know is that we are a district that has Stop Finder. So that's not really that helpful right there. We want that to say something else that's helpful for the parents.
Yeah. I think this is actually the vendor website that they've taken us to for troubleshooting. Yep. So that is a good point, Bowman Walker. I do need to look at that, because that can be actually incorporated with our FAQs.
Yes. Absolutely.
So thank you.
We should potentially link it to our specific questions and answers. And some of these might be some of the questions, but then just link it to our real answers. Because as a parent, that could be a little frustrating. You already know.
Yeah, you already know, right? Exactly.
Yeah, thank you for looking into that. I just read that one. I'm like, come on, we can do a little better than that. So thank you. I do recognize this is a Stop Finder site, so it's very generic, but we do have answers to some of those questions. Thank you for that. Well, listen, we're 6 minutes over, so I'm not going to keep you on this. I know when you're talking about the good stuff, time flies. I wanted to say thank you so much. And what can you leave our parents with that are looking on? We didn't talk specifically about Brandywine and Baden, which I will say this. They are beyond frustrated, as you know. And a number of those are because of the shortages that we're seeing, but there's a lack of consistency. So I want you to say, what can you say to the Baden and Brandywine folks who are looking on today? And then we'll leave your last comments.
So for that community, we've taken a concerted effort. I believe the week before spring break, we were at campuses every day, morning and the PM, to review to see what that arrival and dismissal time looked like for our buses. And so they saw some cracks, and they are working on the plan to make sure that we can get buses earlier in to Brandywine in the morning, as well in the afternoon, because it's a first tier school. Everybody should be there on time from that standpoint. And absolutely. So we've taken a concerted effort to do more to address it. And I'm hoping, coming back out of spring break, we are picking back up from where we left off. We've stressed to them, my team and the bus lots that serve the area, the importance of getting there on time as much as possible. Now, mind you, they are doubling runs, and that area, we do have some of our longest bus routes, especially in the Baden area. So we are working. Just know that if there's still issues consistently with late buses, there's a reason why that bus is just late. And we want to work that out to try to minimize that as much as possible. But I will tell you, I'm getting daily reports on what the arrival looks like for each schools, the whole set of schools between Brandywine and Baden, Gwen Park Middle, what that looks like on a daily basis. And we're mitigating to see where we can minimize the lateness of some of our buses. So I would tell the families, just work with us. We're still working it. And we're going to get it. We're going to keep working within our means, because we still need drivers to offset this as much as possible.
Yeah, and as you know, it turns into lateness for learning, especially during your
Mhm.
homeroom period. So we recognize that all of those things are tied in. I did want to, if we can just double check, if you could, Director Baldwin, and
Mhm.
ensure that the schools are marking them appropriately. I know that there were some concerns at some point about being marked tardy without an absence, unduly tardy, and that's not true. So
Yes.
we just want to
Yeah.
correct all of that.
Yep. I understand with that one as well. We have to remind, work with our schools, and
Yeah.
the most important. If I will tell you this, and it's hard for a school that says if a child arrives by car and they say they
Yeah.
were late because of the bus, and the bus did show up, but the bus showed up late. I know that is hard for a school to determine if they're going to mark that child tardy or not. And that's just the communication that we just have to keep having, and from
Absolutely.
that standpoint. So I will address that.
Thank you very much. We appreciate
Mhm.
it. Well, thank you
Yep.
for being here on this bright and early Saturday. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Transportation discussions are not always the easiest, and I'm not
Yep.
always the easiest with you and Dr. Coleman. So I just want to say thank you for
Hey,
saying yes.
it is no problem. You look, we value your feedback, District Nine's feedback, and just know that we're working hard. I sit with you that I'm ready. I'm working hard to make this pivot so that our transportation system improves, so that we can be the best in the nation. I want to be able to take what we've done and show our improvement on the road and show other folks how to get it done. So we just need the help of the community. And like you said, for today, please, if you know folks that are looking for a job, tell them, meet me at Dr. Henry Wise High School this morning between 9 to 12. We have a massive job fair going on. Come talk to us. Ask how to help, join, do whatever. But I always look to say, look, pay it forward in some way or
Yes.
capacity.
I love
Okay.
that. Job fair today. Make sure you're there. Tell people that if they need a job, we need them. We have so many
Absolutely.
shortages and it will only help our scholars in the long run. Want to thank Ms.
Absolutely.
Millhouse. We appreciate you. Thank Ms. Perkins. We appreciate you. And to all that's going to watch the replay or that's watching now and didn't have anything to add to this particular discussion, please forward this out. We talked academics for the first half. Dr. White was on and she gave us some tremendous resources. We had Director Baldwin here talking to us about transportation, where we're going, where the gaps are, what the top 3 gaps are, how they're going to address it. The fair is happening today. Let the people know. And then also today from 12 to 4, I am partnering with Delegate Woods, and we are having a mental health fair that is catered to middle school, high school, and beyond, to our parents. It's going to be at Oxon Hill Library. We are excited to have you all come out. So I am on my way to Accokeek Academy because they are doing some petitions on safe walking and how we can get
Mm.
that around our schools, because we do not have a lot of sidewalks and walkability
Mm-hmm.
in the
Mm-hmm.
southern piece
Mm-hmm.
of District 9.
Okay.
So we want to
Okay.
try to do that. And then I have 5 other events today. So thank you very much, Director Baldwin. Thank you all for your engagement. District
Thank
9,
you.
you freaking rock. I always say it. And Ms. Millhouse said, Mr. Baldwin is very responsive and working to improve. Yes, he is.
Thank
He is.
you,
And
Ms.
we're not
Millhouse.
easy outside.
No,
Thank you. All right. Y'all have a
thank
good
you.
day.
Take care.
Bye. All right. See you later, Dr. Baldwin.
Take
Director
care.
Baldwin. Bye.
Bye-bye.